Yep. Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Elder Ricard Shaw, the Gather Christ Church, live on the Sabbath with Elder Lawyer. Shalom. And we're going to just allow a few moments for brothers and sisters to come in and get this Sabbath going, right? And get the Sabbath lesson going. That's right. Thank you. All right, all right, all right. Shalom, 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 shalom. Praise the Most High. Ahaya Bashim Yeshaya will walk. Yes, the title of our Sabbath lesson today is, and we're going to try our best, is called Making Sense of an confusing world, making sense of this confusing world. Right? Making sense of this confusing world. Excuse me. That's our title today, and we're going to try our best. Shalom, my family, my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. I hope you all are blessed under the guidance and spirit of Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya Warawah. And we thank you for attending today our weekly Sabbath lesson. Now, of course, our main channel, A Gathering 144, will allow us to live stream in about a month from now. As you all know, we were showing everyone a few weeks back how the government used Jim Jones to actually destroy our people, that Jim Jones was actually a CIA agent that was targeting black churches, okay? And he was used as a proxy for this time. We showed you that Jim Jones were used as a proxy for the government to thwart what the Most High would do with his people in the last days, in our time, knowing that one day our people would come to a decision under the Most High and begin to do what? Go back into the areas we resided before captivity. They knew that the Most High would give Israel an unction to flee or to go. So they made their own proxy or beta flee with Jim Jones. Okay. That way they could actually try to demonize anyone who would think outside of the plantation going forward concerning leaving the plantation. Okay. And we did that lesson a few weeks ago. And when we began to go into the similarities of how the government used the CIA and this guy calling himself Gabriel or something, who's probably under government too, and these other people who were talking about come to the land, go other places. As soon as we did that particular video, what happened? In the midst of the streaming, they actually cut the video off and then struck our page for 3 months and said, everything is fine. You just can't live stream for 3 months. And I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. So, you know, that's okay. So I'm just showing you how the Most High have put us in front of a lot of things they're planning to do against us. They're going to use that Jim Jones garbage to keep our people still in America before they begin to engage our people. Now they're using another guy in the Jim Jones fashion, like the guy Nature Boy, a brother that's full of sin, debauchery, evil speaking, and he's coming under the guise as if he's some type of Christ that's going to lead our people into a wilderness. Now he can stream all day long any place because what? It fits the agenda of how they want to frame the narrative of what the Bible calls fleeing. But that's not what I want to talk about today. I just wanted to preference that to let you all know that our channel, A Gathering 144, will be streaming soon, but it temporarily will be just using, will be coming through on other platforms such as this one until our webpage is up as far as A Gathering 144, as far as streaming live streams. Now, let me pray and get my mind fixed on this Sabbath to deliver the word of the Most High. Cutting that thing off. Let's do our Shemai real quick.
Yes, sir.
Our Sabbath Shemai.
Shemai Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your participation. Let's see how many people we have here in the chat at this time. How many people we have live? We have 362. That should soon go upward to 1,000. Do us a favor, brothers and sisters. I want all of you at this point to hit your like button. That way, others who have been waiting for the stream will come in almost immediately. YouTube will alert the majority of people who are subscribed to the channel once you hit the like button so that we can get this up. Get the numbers so that we can go straight into the lesson. I don't want anyone to miss this. Making sense in a seriously confusing world. Making sense of a confusing world is the title. Okay. Someone say, what about the Nazarene law? Well, I think our brothers and sisters need to figure out what the regular law is before going into the Nazaritic law. Because it's all embodied in one law. We need to figure out what the Most High revealed to us on the base level before trying to go into different levels of the law. We haven't gotten to first base yet as a people. Okay, someone says we should not trim or shave. Well, don't trim or shave then. Okay. That's a simple fix. All right. As long as you're good, don't trim or shave. All right.
Where do you want to start?
All right. Making sense of this confusing world. Now, I was thinking this morning, I'm like, you know what? It comes a time in which we have to, as a people, have a serious conversation. And with this conversation, discuss this world, what this world has turned into, and what will be the consequences and end of this world based on its current state. And have a real conversation concerning it. Right? Now, the Bible says to the Jew first, like I've mentioned every week, and also the Gentile. But if you try to fix it all at once, you'll find yourself a part of the confusion you're trying to fix. It's too much to fix at one time. All right. Who do I focus on first? What should I teach first? right? How can we be efficient and bring some information that can immediately make an impact on everyone to cause this righteous change that what you all know is needed, right? And I'm like, you know what? There was this term growing up that we would hear our family say, or our mothers say in the house, our fathers say, you can't make sense of nonsense, right? I would call that, ghetto wisdom, right? You can't, you can't make sense of nonsense,
Right?
But you know what? But with the Bible, there's resolve. I'm going to show you why part of the confusion out there, Satan's tool is to have us first leave off from what can actually give us some resolve and understanding to why there's so much confusion. Right? But we can't focus on everyone at once. Right? We have to focus according to what? According to the Bible. Right? I'm going to give you some instances. We have to focus according to the Bible to do what? To make sense of a confusing world. Because when you look at this confusion, one would believe that God has vacated the premises. God don't exist. Look at this confusion. Look at this evil. No one can make sense of anything, right? The Most High is not the author of confusion. Mm-hmm. Right? So, part of the confusion is that the people that are in confusion tells everyone to stay away from the Bible. Stay away from the Bible. Look at your pastors. Look at what they're doing. Well, you're able to point these pastors out. Why? Because these pastors aren't following the Bible, right?
That's right.
That's why you're able to point these pastors out, and because they're hypocrites. So the Bible is true, and you're able to point them out. Why? Because of the Word of God. So I'm not going to leave off the Bible because you have a bunch of hypocrites out there that are not even reading out of the Bible. Okay? So I'm not going to leave the Bible alone. I'm going to use the Bible to make sense of a confusing world. On so many levels. Like I'm thinking of some of these radio shows, right? That we've been broadcasting for the last year, right? I'm looking at I'm praying that the Most High will give me some type of resolve and understanding to continue to bring topics to the forefront that leads to what? Critical questions with a biblical resolve. Making critical questions, putting them out there, but with a what? With a resolve, a biblical resolve. Right? I'm looking at this world. I'm like, there's no making sense of this. Right? In this world. But there's making sense of it with the Bible. I'm checking out so many things that gets us frustrated. The fact that we're dying exponentially under the healthcare system, under the death care system, and that our people continually trust in a healthcare system that are body bagging all of our people. And I'm speaking from a perspective, the Jew first and then the Gentile. Not saying it's not affecting everyone, but it's really affecting us at a concentrated rate, right? It's confusing that we will listen to these people who've always killed us. That's confusing. We don't trust the Bible. Stay away from the Bible. And every other week, we're burying our people diagnosed with all these things, yet we trust the system, the healthcare system. We don't trust the Most High God for anything, but we trust the system for mental health. Who have us popping pills all over the place and and every other moment, we're thinking about having suicidal thoughts as a side effect of the medicine, but we'll trust that opposed to the Bible. Right? I'm looking at all these things. I'm like, these are just shows after shows in which we can show a world of confusion that have turned their back, a world who have turned their back on the Most High God, who refuse to come back to the word. And I'm like, how can we resolve this? I'm looking at how we as a people, I'm saying predominantly what they call minority or black people, how we're suffering and how there's so much we need as a people. There's so much we need. We're suffering, we're dying, we're killing ourselves. The world powers are planning to kill us all at once. And I'm examining in that our lack of focus. Our lack of focus at a time in which we need to focus. With all these things going on. How all the things we need, lawyer, right? And what they'll do is we need health care. Proper health care according to the Bible, not this crap you call insurance plans. We need proper herbs, healing. We need to be separated from all Gentile religions. We need a code amongst each other that we can abide by for self-preservation. And I notice out of all the needs, everyone know, even the powers understand we need. So they done attached all the agendas that are against us to our needs. Everything that's against us, they attach to our needs. An example. By example, they've attached homosexuality to our needs. Pedophilia to our needs. We're standing up for everybody else for everything. We're standing up for homosexuals. We're standing up for gay rights. We're standing up at black and white. We're standing up for everything they're talking about. And it's tied to our so-called needs. But none of us are standing up for self-preservation. That's straight confusion. Okay? I'm still waiting for the day where homosexuality will become the face of the Jewish or the Hasidic community, where they would stand forth and say, I stand for homosexuality. I'm waiting for them to publicly push that and say the Holocaust should be pushed with homosexuality. I'm waiting for that. But yet they're saying slavery, our slavery should be attached with homosexuality. See, I'm still waiting for the Chinese people. Now, let me tell you, there's evil and debauchery as well as moral decay in every society. But I don't see no other nation coming out fronting themselves and attaching themselves to the wickedness and celebrating it like our people. Something is going on with our people where they've aimed everything evil and to have us celebrated as if that signifies to the world who we are. So it's time to make sense of this confusion, why it's concentrated, where everything evil, debaucherous, demoralizing is attached to us, and we're the vehicle that's used to roll everything bad in the world out. But yet we don't have the influence and power to do so. So who's funding that debauchery and evil and wickedness? Brothers and sisters, it's about today making sense of the confusion. There's a confusion out there where you walk down the street and every woman you see everywhere got some tight pants where you can see every crevice in them as a part of fashion now. The little girls up into the mothers are running around with what they call these gym shorts or gym pants or whatever. I'm like, what is this? How can we make sense of this confusion? Because I remember a time that modesty and class was also attached to a what? A righteous, thriving society. What's going on now where everyone is about sin and wickedness and showing off their bodies, and just every girl in the world have become a Snapchat model. Let's make sense of this confusion, starting with the Jews first and also the Gentiles. Why? They need us to be the face of everything because we have always, brothers and sisters, dictated to the world. We've always been the people who dictated to the world. We are the salt of the earth. They understood they can use us. As God used Moses for righteousness, under Satan, he would eventually use the same people to promote his evil. We're going to make sense of this confusion by first giving you the instructions. Let's get there real quick in Timothy. And you know what, brothers and sisters? And I know some people are going to fall on this and say, well, you can't judge me. And my answer before that thought comes is, I can't. You're correct. But the Bible states, judge yourself, lest ye be judged. That's what Christ said. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to put the word before you so that you can balance, so that you can decide good from evil and make a choice and judge yourself, lest ye be judged. See, I can't judge you. But I can, through the Spirit of the Most High as a teacher, help us try to make sense of this as a resolve. Just to get that remnant, brothers and sisters, the first point of making sense of this confusion is that we can't save the world. The world is dead already. It's over. It's just now those beacons of light the Most High has chosen all over the earth. It's those elect few that the Most High is looking to gather together for that final battle of Armageddon, to get these specific people in a specific place all at once at the very end. It's about that small remnant. So the first resolve is you can't make sense of all of it, and the majority of people are going to die. Right? That's the reality of it. Whoever fall victim to this stuff and follow the system opposed to the Most High, the wages for that is death. And I'm going to give you some instances. If you go to these hospitals and doctors and follow their diagnosis without going to God first, without understanding that this system was set to kill and destroy you, don't be surprised when you or your family member is laying up with tubes in them, ready to die. And now you want to go to God in prayer and all that when you should have went to him beforehand. That's the confusion in the matter. Understand that if you trust in them and your family die anyway, that the cost of your choices denying God is and was at that time and is death. Understand that. Don't blame God for anything, any of your choices. If you choose to go up under this system and follow their pharmaceuticals and all that, and you and your family is laying up in the hospital, don't try to say, well, oh man, I need God at this point. Either you're going to trust in him or you're not going to trust in him. And I'm not judging you. Judge yourself, lest ye be judged. Do you really believe in the Most High God? Do you really believe that Christ can heal? We're going to make some sense of this confusion today as much as we can. But we're going to first lay the instructions according to the Bible. And we're going to deal with the Jew first and also the Gentile. Let's go, Elder Lawyer.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse number 16.
Come on.
All scripture is given by inspiration of God.
All the scriptures, speaking of the Bible and the Hebrew records that were given to our forefathers, were given for what?
By the inspiration of God.
By the inspiration of the Most High God. Now, if you don't believe in him, hey, that's your choice. Because the majority of the world will die anyway. This is not for you. And it's not for you to argue and try to convince us God doesn't exist. Live your life. You'll know at the end of this, like we all know, that God do exist. And his word, the Bible, was given as inspiration to inspire us, to give us a purpose, to have us understand what this life is on every level. What's required of us as his children on every level. Read.
All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine.
And it's profitable for what?
For doctrine.
For doctrine. There's only one doctrine in the earth whereby man can be saved, brothers and sisters. The Bible is not teaching all these different doctrines and denominations and all that's out there. There's only one message coming from the Bible. One message. So you have to figure out why there's a different message with the Jehovah's Witnesses, opposed to the Seventh-day Adventists, opposed to the Catholics. You have to understand why, even if people are Israelites, why there's different doctrines today like there was in Christ's day. There was only one doctrine, but yet even the Israelites couldn't come together. The Israelites went into captivity, breaking the doctrine of God. Okay? There's only one doctrine. Come on.
For reproof.
For reproof. What is that? For correction. So when someone make this statement, you can't judge me. Oh, you can't be corrected. Well, the Bible is for reproof. I can't judge you, but judge yourself, lest ye be judged. You should be able to go into this Bible, see right from wrong, and correct yourself. See? Come on.
For correction, for instruction in righteousness.
For instruction in righteousness. For instruction in righteousness, folks. Right from wrong. Read.
Verse 17. That the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
Unto all good works. See? So that man can now operate in this righteous spiritual purpose on earth. Right? So how can we make sense of this confusion? Well, we as Israelites draw from the inspiration of our forefathers. Our forefathers bear prophets, brought forth prophets through the loins of the children of Seth, brought forth prophets. So we draw from their inspiration. Chinese people, in an instance, for an example, they'll draw from their Chinese ancient ancestry and cleave to a religion that came through them, a Babylonian religion, mind you, of being a Buddhist. The other nations will draw from their ancestors, like the Hindus and all that, and try to draw from their ancestors for inspiration. Well, we as Black people, we as people who are the cursed slaves, according to Deuteronomy 28, of all nations, the children of Israel. We must draw inspiration from our ancestors, our fathers. We can't go to the Chinese Buddhist and all that and get inspiration and resolve for our issues. Okay? We can't go into African science and all that to try to get a resolve for our issues. We must draw from the inspiration that was given to us from our forefathers. That's how we make some sense of this confusion. We have too many sounds in our ears, too many people talking and giving us directions on which way to go. We have the white man or the Jewish man giving us his idea of what we should do, and we understand he's only out for his interest. And I don't blame him for being out for his interest and self-preservation. We have other nations telling us what we should do when they're out first for their interest. Well, it's about time we focus on our interest according to the Most High and cleave to our ancestors for direction. That's the Bible, folks. In the Bible, there was no such thing, brothers and sisters, as the nations guiding us in righteousness. The Gentiles guiding the children of God, us, in righteousness. So to make sense of our confusion, we must understand that our Bible gives us that inspiration to make sense of this. Not from a religious aspect. Because every time you follow the Bible in Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, or any of these controlled churches, you're actually learning under the, what you would call, these small hirelings under the Catholic Church. You're still learning from a Gentile slave vantage point, right? So you must walk away from all your religious guides. They'll place you in this doctrinal box and block you from your understanding according to the Bible, your personal purpose according to the Bible, with you being an ancestor of the prophets, an ancestor of Christ, an ancestor of Adam, Seth, okay, Enoch, Methuselah, Noah, Abraham. See? Come on, other lawyer.
Yes, sir. I have one scripture here.
Come on.
That point. Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things, yes, sir. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Were written for our learning.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Through comfort of the scriptures, we would have hope. You notice that there's no hope in these Christian churches, for real, concerning purpose. We'll leave these Christian churches after going to a minister, going to a Sunday worship or whatever, and it's operating in the same rotation from week to week with no further inspiration outside of that conclave. You notice that? Read that piece again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Romans 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Were written for our learning. Read.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures.
Of the scriptures.
Might have hope.
Might have hope. And yes, we go to these churches in hope, and in hope that Christ would inspire certain understanding in us. We're there in the churches to get that hope from Christ. But Christ broke down what? All the prophecies concerning himself in the Old Testament. Christ has come to give you light of yourself and your purpose to resolve your confusion. There's a church on every corner, and look at the state of our people. It's no wonder you got one church here and 2 doors down, there's a liquor shop ran by an Arab or a Chinese person. It's no wonder. Because it's all part of the same confusion. They're keeping you in a box, keeping us not being able to see beyond the confusion. But today, we're going to make sense of this confusion. Now, in order to make sense of it, we have to understand the battle. The first battle happened in the beginning, folks, where Satan and his angels divided family in order to gain dominion over the earth. The primal attack against all of what they would call humanity is to first separate and divide the family. Satan and his angels, the dark forces that exist, are together. They're unified under one order. When we come together as a family, by default, according to the narrative of the Bible, there's a power shift in the paradigm. Satan and his angels will only have the authority that was given to him by us relegating our dominion, thereby giving power to the dark forces who control your politicians. Family will always be the numero uno attack of the enemy. So on our side, in order for us to win this war, we must solidify the key point of emphasis in the attack. We must defend that first. Understand that, because through that attack came all this confusion we see. All the things I've mentioned, they're attaching this with us and all that. They'd rather us argue on these narratives, on these levels. But when we protect family, it resolves all of it. I'm going to give some instances in a moment, but I'm going to go step by step with what was introduced to us, brothers and sisters. What was introduced to our father and mother, Adam and Eve, that began our downfall. And I'm going to use societal examples of it. And use societal examples. And I'm going to go into the testament of our forefathers, the testament of the 12 patriarchs. A lot of you out there don't know about the 12 tribes of Israel, but these tribes come from men, fathers, brothers and sisters of the original tree of Abraham. And these fathers at the end left a testimony for all of us, for each of their children. It's called the 12 patriarchs. Translated out of the Hebrew by R.H. Charles. And guess what? Oxford University had this information, and they would never allow this information to be taught in our Christian churches. Why? Because that's the ancestors speaking directly to us, their children, giving us some insight on how they fell and through their lives, and the ups and downs of their lives, and what happened when they denied the God who made them. And they gave examples and says, my son, my daughter, in the future, be careful when you run into this or run into that, because by that I fell. Don't fall like I've fallen, We need that information. That's our forefathers, our blood speaking to us. And because we've been separated from this information, we've become the Gentiles' playground. So making some resolve of this confusion, understanding the number one attack against righteousness is the attack on family. We're going to go to Adam and Eve, the first people on earth. And I know a lot of you think that there was other people because you got Israelites teaching that and others. You have Jewish fables out there, even before Israelites was teaching that there was other people, Adamite doctrine. That's not so. Okay. Adam and Eve were the first people. Cain and Abel weren't the only children of Adam and Eve. When you go to Genesis 5, it lets you know Adam had sons and daughters. Just that Cain and Abel are the key emphasis based on right after the curse of Adam. The two children, one would be subject to good and one would be subject to evil. And that's why those two children are magnified in Genesis 4. But they're not the only children of Adam and Eve. They're the first children. But he had daughters also in Jubilees after Cain and Abel. Okay? I'm putting that out there because when I say that Adam and Eve were the first people, you're going to hear all these doctrines out there that claim that there was other nations and other people and try to use Cain getting a wife in the land of Nod as an example of other people. No, that wife he got was his sister, and we can prove it. Awan was her name. So let's get out of all these false doctrines and all these things, and let's focus on the things that are important to make sense of this confusion. Okay? The attack. Let's get it.
Genesis 3.
You got it.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse number 1.
Yes.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High Power had made.
Now the serpent is Satan, the devil. Now you have some people say that the serpent here is the white man. That's as simple as a day's old, okay? Anybody tell you that the serpent in the garden was a white man, walk away from them immediately and understand they're unlearned. That's ridiculous. It's speaking of Satan here. Let's get a precept on that. Revelations 12.
Yes, sir. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9.
Come on.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan.
Called the devil and Satan.
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Which what?
Which deceiveth the whole world.
Which deceive the whole world. This is an entity. This is a spirit. This is an fallen angel that controls the world, control politicians. Okay, read.
He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
And his angels were cast out with him. Satan and his angels. Okay. It was through these the city of Cain was built. Once Cain fell, he began to build cities of great technology, fallen angel technology. See? Are you following me here? And that automatically advanced the sons of Cain above the sons of Seth. Right? Let's go back to Genesis. Come on.
Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Power had made.
Come on.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, have the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Come on.
But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it.
You shall not eat of that tree, read.
Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Lest ye die. There was a tree of life that the Most High planted in the garden. All herbs at this time was good. But Satan planted a tree, and that's why the Most High told him, Adam, don't touch it. We've proved in the academy many times, teaching, that tree wasn't planted by the Most High God, because in Genesis 1, all the herbs that were made were for good. It was the angels who began to splice and make potions and all these things and pharmacy and make trees of evil that would do what? Poison mankind. And there's nothing new under the sun. A lot of these cross-spliced plants and all that, like marijuana, like the poppy seed, like the other drugs that are out there, it's still used to disconnect us and give us knowledge of good and evil. There's a good aspect of it, but it comes with an evil aspect. Satan still used those same tactics against family till this day. One of the greatest ills that we deal with as a people in our society is drug use. It's dividing our families. Because we're touching a plant the Most High forbid. I'm just showing you examples, folks. It all started, they're using the same tactics against family they did in the beginning. This was an actual fruit that would do certain things to our senses, that would have us deal more so with the lust of our flesh, opposed to linking directly to the Most High God and being fed through the Spirit, walking righteous and satisfying our spirit and purpose, opposed to the flesh. So this is how Satan thought to take our dominion. I'll give them some information. Okay? I'll open them up. I'll get them high. Give them understanding well beyond their age to follow me. And through that, take their dominion. See? Come on.
Verse number 3. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Why he said, lest ye die, brothers and sisters? Because Satan knew that once Adam and Eve touched this tree, the Most High would do what? Deny him the tree of life. Satan understood this. Satan understood that if I allow them, Adam and Eve, to touch this tree and eat of my fruit, the Most High will deny them everlasting life. And by default, they'll have to start from the beginning, giving dominion over to me. Now that they have taken of my tree, they would need to come to me for their education, their resources, their understanding. And they'll have to break through me to get to him. They'll have to first resolve the confusion that I'm throwing out there for them. They'll have to break that confusion first to get to him, when at once they had a direct connection with the Most High. But if I get the dominion, I'm going to throw out so much confusion, they're not going to know left from right, up from down. There'll still be entry to them, but it's through my confusion. Because now they have to wade through good and evil. Are you following me here, brothers and sisters? I'm showing you where it started. Good and evil. Our lesson today, making sense of a confusing world. A lot of us are trying to make sense by resolving one confusion after the other, but we're still subjected to the confusion. Why not understand how all the confusion came to avoid it altogether? Okay. Stick with me here. Go back in Genesis, read.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
You're going to be like angels. Gods are angels, folks. Knowing good and evil. You'll know the whole plan. You'll understand everything, and you'll get it from me. This is what Satan is saying here. right? This is Satan. Now you noticed he went to Eve. He went to the woman. This is how families are separated. And I'm not blaming the woman or the man, but it's someone coming to either side of the family. Some coming in when you are one, a husband and wife is one. No one should be able to come in on either side to pit one against the other. Anyone on the outside, even if you think you're giving me good information, whatever the case is, no one from the outside should influence your house. You have to be in agreement. This is how the Satan gets in. But our itching ears won't allow us to keep family pure and strong and fortified. There'll be ups and downs, rights and wrongs. But you know what? Through sickness and health, we're staying together. I'm not going to let no one come in and divert my purpose. My family is my legacy. And without it, there is none. Why do you think we got the Bible? It took families for us to get this, that stayed together. Family is our legacy. And without family, there's nothing to protect. There's no purpose in life. There's no legacy. So Satan was like, well, okay, if I can get to one of them, I'll give one the knowledge. And through that knowledge to do good and evil, she'll deceive her husband. Now, I know people, and guess what? This has nothing to do with love because they both loved each other. Adam and Eve loved each other. Okay? They loved each other. But there was a function that would come in to destroy their dominion and power. Okay? What happens? And I'm giving examples. While you're working or while you're somewhere, and then someone is all up in your husband or wife's ears and all that. That's part of Satan's confusion. That's part of his confusion. See, I hope you all are following this. And I know the person that's in the ear speaking to you and all that, they can mean well. They could care for you and all that. But you have to understand keeping your legacy is paramount in your purpose. Because Satan is about to now just strove you out with no protection into a totally uncharted territory. The options after leaving your family is what? Sin. Those are your options. See? Come on.
Verse number 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desired to make one wise.
And a tree that was desired to make one wise.
She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her.
Now, I can give you an example of that fruit that makes one wise. You understand? Why do you think so many of our people that are in a low state choose drugs? They choose drugs as an option because what? It gives them an alternate reality from their current state, from their current condition. And through that, a lot of time when our people take drugs, we can think straight and see things differently. And we understood based on that state, I can only get to this state if I take this particular drug. And we lose what? the sober-minded connection with the Most High. But we gain understanding on this level, be it a temporal satisfaction, to be able to think clear and focus on certain things you would like to accomplish in this world. It does all that. There's even drugs, folks, that takes people in the spirit to wherever they would like to go. Like heroin, like opioids. But it's with a price. You can't get the good stuff without the evil. Well, I smoke this because, you know, my nerves. No, deal with your nerves. Your nerves are telling you to do what's right. Your nerves are urging you to do what's right.
That's right.
Go into the word, pray to the Most High, and get resolve. Don't smoke because of your nerves. Fix things in your life, and your nerves will calm. So these temporal fixes are separating us, folks. And Satan used the same tactics from over and over and over again. And it's called pharmakeia. I will give them a synthetic or temporal fix. That's all the tree of good and evil was. Giving them information, giving them insight. Because usually when you understand certain things, you like, it calms you down, you're okay and all that. Or let me play on their curiosity. See? It's many ways these things are introduced to you. Let me try it. I'm curious. See? Come on.
Verse number 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked.
And they knew that they were naked. They were out there now, without the Most High. But then they had knowledge, because at this time, when the Most High first made Adam and Eve, they were like little children as far as their thoughts were concerned. Pure. Pure. But what happened, brothers and sisters? I'll tell you what happened. Eventually, they understood everything and knew that, okay, I don't even have on clothes here. Because they didn't have a sense of sexual urges and all that. Like children don't until a certain age, until things are introduced to the children. See? Are you following me here? See, like, I got to cover up. Because now what? They now have, through this fruit, sensation when it comes to their senses. Okay, no longer like a little child now. They're full grown and understand, well, okay, I have urges. Matter of fact, I'm naked. And they cover up. But that nakedness also did something else in their minds, which was what? It gave them the knowledge of shame. They knew they disobeyed the Most High. They felt the Spirit of the Most High move from them. They felt that darkness. The same as when any of us do something wrong, you can feel that difference in your conscience, right? So the knowledge of evil was then present. Making sense of this confusion. Are you following me here? Now, what was the side effects of that fruit? See, Satan would like us to look at this and say, you know what? Now, Adam and Eve and their children will now look at these scriptures as a point to blame each other. Mankind will grow up and say, well, woman, why did you do this? It's your fault. It's your fault you did this. Now the battle that Satan developed has taken hold. And now you have a scriptural reason for the divide. Because you don't understand the doctrine of the Bible. If the Bible leads you to blame either side, you're still under the curse of that fruit. You're not to blame the woman. The Most High put the curse on the woman that she have to deal with every time there's a child born. That sorrow that comes from childbirth. That's her reminder. It's not for us to put down the woman because her mother took the fruit, or think the woman to be less than man or less than you because Eve took the fruit, and vice versa. It's not up to a woman to look at a man, oh, he's weak. Because why would he follow that woman? And then you will see a man that would not acquiesce, but cater to a woman to some degree because he loves her. And he'll be like, look at this. Yeah. And a woman to look at this, he's weak, just like Adam was. That's at the lower level of this. This wasn't shown as an example to blame each other, because even Adam and Eve blamed each other. Oh, God, it's the woman you gave me. This is to help us understand the poison that's within all of us, that keeps us from getting to that point in which we can resolve and bring together what Satan tried to destroy and what he continued to destroy. What was in this fruit, folks? That means death to us all. Let's get it real quick out of the Apocrypha. Pull up the Apocrypha in case brothers and sisters on here. Right? And if you can, hit the like button real quick so others can come in and share in this understanding today, okay? Let's read it.
2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse number 19. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire and of earthquake and of wind and of cold, that thou mightest give law unto the seed of Jacob and diligence unto the generation of Israel.
So that he can give law to who?
To the seed of Jacob.
To the seed of Jacob. So the Most High gave us a law. This law have us undo that sin. Folks, this law connects us back to the Most High. This is our path to the tree of life. So when you see some shuffling Amos and Andy pastor talking about the law's done away with and making you believe the law is bad, you are listening to a minister of Satan. How can the law be bad? But yet this minister will do what? He'll follow every law of Caesar, but yet teach God's people that the law's done away with. Render unto Caesar what Caesar's. But then Christ said, but render unto the Most High what is God's. Give what belongs to the Most High, give him his due too. So yeah, you could follow the law of Caesar, but you better follow the laws of God. Because Caesar isn't judging anyone. Caesar behind is burning in hell right now. Okay? And I like to emphasize this because I don't know what psychosis our people are under, listening to these pastors saying the law's done away with. It's clear the law's done away with. Look at the confusion in this world. You have done away with the law, but God didn't give Moses the law in vain. That law wasn't given in vain. There's a purpose for that law. So any stuff shuffling and moonwalking past out there talking about he's above the law and the law is sin, he's of the devil. because that's the only path back to the tree of life. And only a lawless man would try to promote law being done away with. Make that clear. Now, if you have a problem with sin, that's your problem. We all struggle with things, but don't try to teach that and try to use the Bible to reinforce that. Okay? The Bible is against sin. What is sin? A transgression of the law. What law? The law given to our fathers, the Israelites, our law. Okay? You have something, Elder Lawyer?
No, sir.
Okay, finish reading what you have so we can show, brothers and sisters, the side effect of that poisonous tree. Read it.
2 Ezra chapter 3, verse number 20.
Yes.
And yet thou tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
He says, Ezra say, Lord, you gave Israel the law, but you didn't take away that wicked heart that came through our father Adam. So what was in that fruit? A wicked heart. Where now we would have to choose good, living in the evil. It was all good in the beginning. But when you're born under sin in an evil world, you're looking to find a path to good. That's the confusion now the children of Adam would have to weed through. You would have to find what's right out of wrong. So the prophet was like, Lord, take that away from them, where they'll just know right first. But the curse was instilled already. We do all these things to ourselves growing up. And then we come to the knowledge of the truth and say, you know what? If I knew better, I wouldn't have done these things. If I'd have known better. That's the curse, folks. Where we believe that the way we grew up in these confused, dysfunctional neighborhoods, we believe that's normal. We believe it's normal. And I'm going to tell, and this is not to judge anyone. This is for each individual to look at the inspiration of the scriptures and judge yourselves. Okay? We believe that the way we live is normal. That's the curse. We can walk in our neighborhood to see our families and see trash strove all over the place. And the people would just be sitting on the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting on the trash. Like, oh yeah, it's normal. Stuff just blowing by. And this is not to judge anyone. It's to show you the side effects of the curse, folks, where you can't discern clean from unclean. But it's the knowledge of the word, the Bible, that gives us knowledge of the evil we were brought up in, the dysfunction we all was brought up in. It's the law that gives us knowledge of, okay, my father and mother used to teach us this. That's not right. Why did the Most High have, why was there such an emphasis on the Most High's temple when it comes to clean and unclean? Am I unclean? Is this neighborhood I'm in, is this unclean? See, the law gives us knowledge of all this. And the knowledge, with the knowledge, become now an opportunity for that one individual to start with others to fix the confusion. See, Are you following me here? And I'm not speaking from a perspective as if I'm better than anyone, because I never come from that vantage point. Guess what? I was born in the hood, and to some degree, I'm proud of it. Because I know the uncleanness and all the things they perpetuate in the society, that is not the only thing that exists amongst us. That there is good amongst our people. That there's a fear of God that's amongst us. That can be in our dirty neighborhoods, that you will never find a pristine, clean white suburb. There's a fear of God that we have in us that's nowhere in the earth, regardless of our shortcomings. But that piece of us is not promoted. So let me make it clear. Christ came from Nazareth, which is the lowest parts of the ghetto. All I'm saying is, brothers and sisters, it's our time. It's our time. And with this time, we are not to make excuses for our confusion and uncleanliness. It's our time to raise above it and show the world who we really are as a people. To show everyone that we are the children of God, that we don't just have the fear of God, we're those people. And by doing so, we're not going to let the Gentiles attach anything unclean to us. No, we're not. No, there's no civil rights movement where you can attach homosexuality to being black. We are above that. Get that crap out of there. You attach homosexuality to the Holocaust. Get that crap out of here. Pedophilia, drugs, no sensationalizing drug dealers, thoughts and all this crap all on Snapchat. We're not attached, none of that to us. That's not us. These, what you're showing, are a product of sin, not to be attached to the righteous. And it's time that we make a stand. I'm not standing with no lesbian Black Lives Matter. I'm not standing with some women who just want to show their butt all over the place. I'm not standing with that. I'm not standing with people trying to be someone else other than the children of God. I'm not standing with it no more. And we're not going to allow the Gentiles to attach it to us. Every newspaper that claimed that blacks need to stand with transgender and all this crap, listen, move that, you attach that to the Holocaust. Okay? We're not accepting it, and neither should either of our people on any level anymore. Okay? Let me put that out there. I hate to go on a rant, but everything they're attaching to us, brothers and sisters, is the actual product of that seed of sin that was given to our father and mother. I hate to go on a diatribe or digress in something or go on a tangent. But I'm surprised we allow them to do this to us, to attach everything wrong to us. And how we make an excuse instead of coming out of the sin and using the Bible as our example. We'll say, well, I'm going to be evil because there's white people being evil. I'm going to dress like this because white people doing this. Well, I'm going to put this in my head because white people doing this. I don't care what they're doing. Who are we? We're the children of God. We have to understand the poisonous side effects of that tree, folks. That's what we need to focus on, not blaming one against the other. Because what? If the family is together, Adam and Eve, if you are together, I don't have to worry about that homosexual or that lesbian or whatever the case is who will come in trying to target our children. Right? I don't have to worry about them. Because we all know they are the molesters of children. Period. the majority. That those sodomites they are an enemy of our people. I don't care what color they are. Okay? They're the molester of our children. But if we're together, we can warn our children against them. If we're together, we can warn our children against the drug dealers. If we're together, we can actually make a force to be reckoned with to deal with these ills in our community. If the family is together. Because now we have something to protect. We have a legacy to protect. See? But if families are divided and we're fighting amongst each other, the only thing we're fighting for is how much child support was this week or this month. We're fighting each other while the ingrates, the bottom of our society, run amok over our legacy, over family. Making sense of this confusion. Making sense in a confusing world is the topic today. Come on.
2nd Ezra chapter 3, verse 20. And yet thou tookest not thou not away from them a wicked heart.
A wicked heart, read.
That thy law might bring forth fruit in them.
That thy law may bring forth fruit in them. The Most High knew that our father and mother made the wrong choice and cursed them thereby. But he did what? He gave a law to Israel and said, you know what? I'm going to give you the knowledge of how to overcome that sin. And on top of that, I'll send my son as an example of a man who can actually do it. Okay? To show you how to do it, even using the grace within the law that was in the Old Testament. Because grace didn't start in the New Testament, folks. Mm-hmm. Christ showed examples of grace in the Old Testament. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you how to follow this law to overdo the curse. You stay with this law. At that point, you are above the tree of good and evil. And now you have that same connection Adam and Eve had before the fall. I will direct you out of confusion. But you must follow law. See? That's why the Most High states in the Old Testament that sin, that disobedience is as the sin of witchcraft. Yes, a spell was cast on all of man by choosing good and evil. That's how we're being controlled, folks. We're being controlled through the Jewish powers and knowledge of good and evil. Okay, that's the knowledge they use to keep the world in confusion as a form of control. That's a whole nother lesson. A matter of fact, we're going to add that lesson in the academy, the tree of life and the tree of good and evil, because I can teach hours on that. What's the difference? What actually resulted from that tree and what the tree of life that will be presented to us is. We're gonna make that. I'm gonna make sure. Let me write that down so I can make that a lesson. I'm gonna do that in the academy. The tree of life and the tree of good and evil. We know where the tree of life is. We know when it's going to be presented again. And we know that the Most High didn't plant that tree. Okay. The angel that's over the Roman Empire, Satan himself, under the name of Samael, planted that tree. And we know it, and we can prove it. And guess what? The Jewish people know it. Okay. And the next time I'm sitting down with a rabbi, I'm going to go straight. I'm not even going to talk about the political things and all that. We're going to talk doctrine. Who's Satan to you? Who's Samael? Who planted that tree in the garden? And is that the knowledge, the core knowledge of what you teach with the Kabbalah to control the world? Okay. That's the next time we sit with a rabbi. That's what we're going to talk about. Is your God Satan? Okay. That's where we're going with rabbis going forward, because they're using the same potion that destroyed the righteous Adam and the virtuous Eve. Okay. That began the downfall of all mankind. And these are the people that are using the same tactics on society to keep everyone divided in the earth till this day. Drug use, pharmacy, separation of family, upholding debauchery, celebrating homosexuality, multiculturalism, all this Babylonian confusion. Babylon is confusion, folks. That's what it is. But it's the end result of the tree of good and evil. Let's see what that poison is. Come on, let's go.
Yes, sir. Verse 21. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed and was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him.
Come on.
Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away.
Now, this is what this tree does. This potion does. Okay. It makes it where the good, what?
Departed away.
The good, you know, in a person departs away.
And the evil abode still.
And the evil abode still. Brothers and sisters, is this not what we exhibit on a lower level when one of our family members are turned to drugs? That all the good we knew in them, and it changed where all the bad stuff that we couldn't stand about them becomes that person. I'm just showing you on a societal level how true the Bible is. Isn't that what happens? And the thing that keeps us encouraged in trying to help our brother and sister that are under substance abuse is what? Trying to remind them of how they were and how much love we had for each other before they went on that stuff. How the things they were able to achieve and how they used to aspire to do so many things. We focus on the good in them, and that's what encourages us to allow to give them opportunity after opportunity, even stealing from us, hurting us, causing harm. But we always, to every degree, as a people, look at what they were before that, not realizing they're no longer that. That they're no longer that. And the hardest thing to do is to cut someone off that you've seen good in so that they can hit rock bottom. And at that point, to help build that brother or sister back again. But I'm just showing you some examples. There's nothing in society that can't be broken down with this Bible, folks, but they don't want you to resolve it with sin and what happened in the beginning. They want you to go into a 12-step program, rehab and all that. And these same people that go to rehab, they end up being the same people in rehab 10, 15 years later, because no one has focused on the root sin. Okay? What that spirit is, what demons are attached to it. Doesn't matter. Anything in society can be broken down if we can, it can be resolved with the Bible, folks. Just the teachers are against the law of God and against the doctrinal instruction for mankind that's written of in scripture. So I thought, you know what? We'll go into the Bible and show brothers and sisters what's in us. And brothers and sisters, this is nothing that's taught as we grow. The curse that was in Adam and Eve, brothers and sisters, is what we're born with. And it's not like someone saying, well, I was born gay or I was born to like this. No, we were born to actually more so satisfy our flesh first. That's the curse. The flesh first. And the spirit would be a distant second. We were born to satisfy the flesh first. That's the curse. Let me show you this malignant. It's called malignant in the Bible, this curse. Read.
Verse number 22. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away.
The good departs away.
And the evil abode still.
And the evil abode still. And when the evil take control of the person, you will hear the evil tell you, you can't judge me. That's not the good in the person. The evil is letting you know right now, I got that person you used to know. That person no longer have control of the vessel. That person resides in this temple, but I'm in control. And you can't judge me. I'm going to continue to do this. See, and that's when you hear that you can't judge me, you're talking to the spirit that have taken control of that vessel. See, that's the level we have to begin to understand. We're wrestling not with flesh. Because a good person, the person that's good, when you bring things forth, they'll look at it and say, you know what? You're right. This thing is against me. Can you help me rid myself of it? What steps can I take? Because I like who I am, the good part of me. And I don't want to no longer excuse that being, that spirit that will lead to hell. I no longer want to excuse it, because if I keep following this, the end of this, according to what was told to my father and mother, is death. See? But if you hear them say, you can't judge me, you're not talking to the good in that person. You're speaking to the vessel that have overtook that temple. Now, what's a shame in this is that it's the pastor saying this. The people that are supposed to be leading brothers and sisters to the kingdom of heaven, to the light of Christ. That's the issue. They're teaching that. These ministers of Satan. See? Come on.
Verse number 23. So the times passed away, and the years were brought to an end. Then didst thou raise thee up a servant called David, whom thou commandest to build a city unto thy name, and to increase or to incense, or to offer incense and oblations unto thee therein.
I need you to go real quick to Psalms 147, real quick, 19 and 20, to show you why we're more so drawing from the inspiration of the Bible to resolve the confusion.
Psalms 147, verse 19 through 20.
Come on.
He showeth his word unto Jacob.
He showeth his word unto Jacob. Jacob is our forefathers, brothers and sisters. I don't care what they try to claim. You notice that the modern day theologians would try to put Ham on you and try to claim you're African. And then you ask them, okay, if I'm Ham, which of the sons? They'll say, well, the son of Canaan was cursed to be a servant. I'm like, okay, show me the scriptures where Canaan went into West Africa and was taken in the cargo slave ships. So prophetically link me to Canaan. Show me in the Bible where it says Canaan became a nation and went into West Africa and was dragged in the cargo slave ships. I can show you the children of Jacob in Deuteronomy 28 fulfilling that prophecy, but you cannot show me any sons of Ham fulfilling that prophecy. You liar. You are a liar. The indigenous people who was here well before the Negroes got here, the blacks of Africa got here, was here thousands of years. Okay, well before we got to the shores of America. They left in 721 and they were in the Americas already. 721 BC, the 10 tribes begin to inhabit the New World, America, whom you Greeks or Romans coined when y'all found the land, initially Atlantis, an extension of Atlantis. America, our forefathers were here. Our brothers, the North American Indians from the tribe of Gad, were here. Okay, we were here, brothers, over in the land of angels that you call Mexico, and divided it through Los Angeles. Guess what? That was our brothers, Issachar. In South America, Asher. Those were our brothers and sisters. It's speaking. This is our resolve. This is how we get out of this, brothers and sisters. Because what I find is the curses that are destroying us worldwide are not exclusive to just black people in America. We're suffering this everywhere. In Asia, in the Philippines, in different parts of Korea, Cambodia. These are all our people, folks. Even did research. Sandy, the guy who do our videos, come to find out he's from the Song family, or the Sang family. The Sang family of China came from the 10 tribes that left in 721 BC into China, came through the Bering Straits into Alaska. Okay, and let me put this out there, because we know that 12 tribes chart is just a microcosm of the 12 tribes that are scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. And we're not here just to get to those that are on that chart. Because if we were to go beyond that chart, we could add all the lands on top of those we're showing, who are from the lost tribes of Israel, brothers and sisters. We're the children of Jacob, and I find that we're suffering the curse of Adam everywhere. The curse for the disobedience of our forefathers. We're suffering this everywhere. And in some cases, brothers and sisters are going through way worse atrocities than we are actually going through in America. He's speaking to us. This is how we resolve this. Make sense of our confusion. Stop trying to make sense of the confusion you were born in. We have to resolve this from the knowledge of the Most High first, and cleave to others of like mind. There's no fixing none of this. Overall, it's about getting to the people who are tired of it, and work with those people to get out of the way of the judgment that's coming to it. That's the resolve. Read it.
He showeth his word unto Jacob.
He showeth his word, which is the Bible and the doctrine of our forefathers' record, the Bible, to Jacob. We're the children of Jacob, folks. And that's why I don't care who you get. I haven't found a Chinese man, a white man, or any other man, an East Indian man. I've never found a nation of people who could break down this Bible like Israelites who didn't go to any theologian school. You ever wonder why? You ever wonder why? You listen to what they're breaking down, and it's boring jargon with no substance or understanding. Why? It wasn't given to them, folks. It wasn't theirs. So that love of God, the fear of God, have led a certain remnant of the children of Israel back to the record, to stand on it, to use it for instruction, doctrine, and what? Deliverance. I don't want what the Catholic Church is pushing. I don't want what the Baptists are pushing. I don't want none of their crap anymore. What the Methodists are, the Episcopalians, the Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't want none of it anymore. It's garbage. It's straight garbage because what? They're not giving you the insight to the root of our problem. On a concentrated level and saying, well, listen, I'm going to teach you how to come out of captivity. Where's that doctrine? Just I want the beyond being able not to smoke cigarettes anymore, or beyond, or well, I'll put down the bottle. That's what we call deliverance. When we should be delivered from that too. But guess what? I want it all. We want it all. We want to be delivered from all of it, not just the stuff you have concentrated and targeted us with. You hear people saying, I've been saved. I've been saved from drugs. And you know, that's good. But then you go outside and have to duck bullets. Okay? Nah, we want out of all of it. What he gave Moses, what he gave Christ, what he gave our prophets and teachers is the answer. Read it.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
His statutes and his judgments unto who?
Israel.
Unto Israel, read.
Verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation.
He have never given the white man or the Chinese man, the Asian man, or the Japhetic man, or the Hamitic man, or the East Indian. He have never given them the direction. Never. He have never given them any direction concerning the kingdom of heaven. Because what? Their benefit is our captivity, our servitude. See? Why would they teach us to serve us? That they would relegate their authority to serve the children of the living God. They would never teach that according to the Bible, they're not the people. They'll never teach we are the people. That's our only way out. See? That's why all these other nations are saying, well, there's other records outside the book. Why deal with the book? Because it applies to us. It's our fathers speaking to us. And our fathers have our interest at heart, opposed to you Gentiles. And the word was given to us as instruction so he can give us knowledge of you too, of your position, your interest. Okay. So the Bible didn't only give me knowledge of myself. The Bible have showed me the white man, the Chinese man, the African man, historically. See, I have knowledge of you and I will deal with you accordingly. See, according to God's knowledge of you. See, that's brothers and sisters. That's us awakening above the curse. We're undoing the curse now and saying, listen, you don't have no resolve for family. You divide families. Okay. You have no resolve for righteousness. You uphold unrighteousness. See? He showeth his word, what?
Unto Jacob.
Unto Jacob.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel.
His statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Read.
Verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation.
He have not dealt so with any of the Gentiles. Read.
And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
And as for the judgments of God, the Gentiles have never known the judgments. Why? The laws weren't given to them. So if some Messianic Jew come knocking on my door saying, I'm a Jew who believe in Christ, get out of my face, okay? I don't want to hear your garbage. The Most High didn't give it to you. If anything, you should be asked to be taught by Israelites. Request a class. You Messianic Jews, you're not in authority anymore. Your authority is waning. It's fallen. And that's why these so-called powers that be and the Jewish powers that be, I'm talking about the Zionists, are targeting are targeting us for total annihilation, because they know that the witchcraft and the sorcery is wearing off. They have controlled us by proxy by doing what? Financing these same churches in our communities. Who do you think financed these confusion churches? The Zionists. But we can make sense of this confusing world by what? Hearing some of the testimonies of our fathers. You notice Paul had a struggle in his flesh, that malignant root that was given through Adam and Eve, where when he tried to, even when he did good, he realized what? Evil was present. Why? There was a choice to do good. If you just can't do good naturally and you have to choose to do it, there's still evil in your heart if there's a choice. And then he find himself doing the wrong things, knowing the right things to do, right? Well, guess what, brothers and sisters? There's a testament of the 12 patriarchs. Just like our father Jacob left a testimony of what will befall Israel in captivity in the last days. Well, guess what? Our forefathers, the 12 sons of Jacob, whom the law was given to, according to Psalms 147, left testimonies before they died as inspiration to have us overcome in this time of servitude, knowing that we would go into captivity. Our forefathers, the 12 tribes of Israel, was shown this. So I want to read in particular the testament of one of the forefathers, the testament of Reuben. Now, the testament of Reuben breaks down everything. It resolves a lot of the confusion. Why? Everything. Why our society is more so flesh-driven. Why women would like to show their bodies and all that. It breaks it all down. It breaks down everything. Okay? And it started with that fruit that was given. And then it breaks down on another level how that makes men weak. The things that makes men weak, where man can't stand in their authority. Our proper authority. Now, Satan would like these many channels out there where a woman would be like, he's a weak man, so I'm going to the other man to sleep with and all this crap. And the black man would be like, well, listen, I'm going to the white woman to sleep with because the sister don't give me this, that, and the other. But the whole thing is this, regardless of, guess what you're doing? All in all, you're doing away with your legacy. And you are still subjected to the curse if you're acting. You're acting out because the curse exists. You're not looking to resolve the issue. You're looking to run away to someone else to hide from the issue. But the issue still exists. Our family, the children of Israel, are dying. I don't care who you try to run to. Satan is winning, and I'm gonna tell you, Agenda 21, the annihilation of the children of Israel is now. It starts with us not choosing each other. Let's face what it is, even the ugly, and understand, you know what? This is our curse, and you know what? In order for us to overcome it, we're going to have to overcome it together. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you run to. The end result is total annihilation, extinction, total extinction of the children of Jacob. So Reuben broke this down on his deathbed. And I want to read this to you so that we can resolve what we see on Snapchat, Facebook, on YouTube, on the confusion. I'm going to show you how our debauchery and us, the wrong stereotypical examples of us, is a multi-billion-dollar industry in this world today. Them magnifying our foolishness and our extinction is a billion-dollar business for Jews, for Zionists. I'm going to show you why. Let's go to the testament of Reuben. The lesson today, brothers and sisters, making sense of a seriously confusing world. Making sense of this confusing world. Testament of Reuben.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, other lawyer.
Yes, sir. I'm going to start from the top. Or?
Start from the top.
All right. The Testament of Reuben, chapter 1, verse 1.
Yes.
The copy of the Testament of Reuben, even the commands which he gave to his sons before he died in the 125th year of his life. 2 years after the death of Joseph, his brother, when Reuben fell ill, his sons and his sons' sons were gathered together to visit him. And he said to them, my children, behold, I am dying.
Now, brothers and sisters, just to give you the chronology of this testament was actually given while we were citizens of Egypt. This was well before the Most High gave us, brothers and sisters, the laws, statutes, and commandments to Moses. This was well before Israel became a land. We were actually diplomats, governors, and citizens of Egypt at this time. These are Shemitic people, Israelites, living in an Hamitic land. Okay? Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 4. My children, behold, I am dying and go the way of my fathers. In seeing there Judah and Gad and Asher his brethren, he said to them, raise me up that I may tell to my brethren and to my children what things I have hidden in my heart, for behold, now at length I am passing away.
Come on.
And he arose and kissed them and said unto them, hear, my brethren, and do ye, my children, give ear to your father Reuben, and the commandments which I give unto you.
Come on.
And behold, I call to witness against you this day the God of heaven, that ye walk not in the sins of youth and fornication.
Do not walk in the sins of youth and fornication. Chapter
1, verse 7.
1 and 7. Before Reuben died, one of the 12 patriarchs, he called his sons to his bed and say, listen, don't walk after the sins of what? Your youth and fornication. Okay? Don't walk after this. Like, don't let that be the life that direct you. Pleasure. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Another one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Don't let, quote unquote, I'm going to put it in a way in which you youths can understand. Don't let sex or the desire of that at your young age dictate the rest of your life. Because you're going to find yourself regretting choices when you get of age to understand, what life is. Mm. Don't let your pleasure or he's cute or she's cute. Don't let that dictate anything for you. Don't let the peer pressure of you being young and have other people in your class and all that talk about that and all that. Don't let that drive you making a physical decision that will change the rest of your life. Now, brothers and sisters, he's speaking right now in ancient times in ancient Egypt, thousands of years before Christ, information, wisdom that can be applied right now, right? It sounds as if there's a wise man speaking to you right now, which is the benefit of listening to our fathers. This is the first son of Jacob. Reuben is predominantly, brothers and sisters, in Australia right now. They would have received the gift of the firstborn if Reuben didn't fornicate one day by being drunk, sleeping with his father's wife. See? So when you see some of the dysfunctions that going on in amongst us as a people, we can point to these examples that happened through the flesh with Reuben. But because Reuben had so much, brothers and sisters, regret of this, he asked the Most High to show him the spirit and in the senses and all that leads to us making fleshly choices. So that he says, listen, I can't change what I did, but Lord, give me the understanding of the spirits that lead people to this so that I can warn my children. Because you know I love you, Lord. I love you. And it's not like I didn't love you when I did this. Okay? Because there's good in me. But I make all the wrong choices. So Lord, give me the insight to explain this to my children on the next level so that they don't fall to the same mistakes I fell to, which led me to lose my inheritance as the firstborn. See? Come on.
Walk not in the sins of youth and fornication, wherein I was poured out, and defiled the bed of my father Jacob. And I tell you that he smote me with a sore plague in my loins for 7 months.
So the Most High plagued him in his loins for 7 months, where he had pain in his private area for his sin of fornication. Verse?
In the middle of verse 7,
towards
the end. And had not my father Jacob prayed for me to the Most High would have destroyed me. For I was 30 years old when I wrought the evil thing before the Most High. And for 7 months was I sick unto death.
Now check out what his father Jacob did. This son violated him. The Most High cursed Reuben for 7 months. Jacob, his father, of course, mad, upset with him, reprimanded him, was hurt due to the sin of his son, but he still forgave his son and prayed to the Most High to heal Reuben, understanding that Reuben was taken through the flesh. This is this stuff. Guess what? That is the ingredients within that tree of good and evil, that evil fruit. It have us break covenants, deny each other, harm the people most close to us. But through that, our father Jacob still forgave him, prayed to the Most High to heal him. Read.
And also notice Reuben's age at this time that he committed this. It says he was 30 years old.
He was 30 years old.
And I mention this because in this society, age of consent or being quote unquote grown is a license to commit evil. The Most High don't care about your age. Evil is evil and you will be judged for that evil.
Exactly. Exactly. See that? Read on.
The rest of verse 8. And when I wrought the evil thing before the Lord, and for 7 months was I sick unto death. And after this I repented with set purpose of my soul for 7 years before the Lord. And wine and strong drink I drank not, and flesh entered not into my mouth, and I eat no pleasant food, but I mourned over my sin, for it was great, such as has not been done in Israel.
In all of Israel, he kept pleasure pleasurable foods, including drink, from his mouth for 7 years, and only ate enough herbs and substance to live as a fast. Any delicacies that he know that mama would like to make and all that, he stayed away from everything that was pleasurable to him. Okay? During this penance. Fasting. Come on.
Chapter 2,
Chapter 2, verse 1. Come on.
And now hear me, my children, what things I saw concerning the 7 spirits of deceit.
So the Most High showed him the spirits which led to him sleeping in fornication with his father's wife. He found that there was 7 spirits of deceit. Why am I going here, brothers and sisters? Here's the spirit that came on Adam and Eve upon taking that fruit of good and evil. Here's the spirits that plague all of us. Now, what I'm teaching here should be taught in every church on earth so that we can recognize the enemy within ourselves. Read them.
Chapter 2, verse 2. 7 spirits, therefore, are appointed against man, and they are the leaders in the works of youth. And 7 other spirits are given to him at his creation.
And 7 others are given to him in his creation. So there's 7 spirits from the creation of man. And there's a separate 7 spirits that lead to fornication and evil. Read.
That through them should be done every work of man.
Come on.
The first is the spirit of life.
The first is the spirit of life. Now, that's a good spirit. These are the spirits the Most High gave us in creation. He gave Adam 7 spirits in creation to live within this realm we call earth. Life is one. Read.
The first is the spirit of life, with which the constitution of man is created.
Come on.
The second is the sense of sight.
The sense of sight to see. Read.
With which ariseth desire.
Come on.
The third is the sense of hearing.
The sense of hearing.
With which cometh teaching.
Which cometh teaching.
The fourth is the sense of smell.
Smell.
With which taste are given to draw in air, or to draw air and breath.
Come on.
The fifth is the power of speech.
The power of speech.
With which cometh knowledge.
To talk.
The sixth is the sense of taste.
Taste.
With which cometh eating of meats and drinks.
Come on.
And by it strength is produced.
And by it strength is produced to what? What we digest. What we eat. What we ingest. Go on.
For in food is the foundation of strength.
Come on.
The seventh is the power of procreation and sexual intercourse, with which through love of pleasure sins enter in. Wherefore
hold up. The love of pleasure, sins enter in. So sex itself produces something. Either it produces righteousness, or it produces an evil generation. See that? Now, when you are fruitful and multiplying under the laws of God, you're bringing forth what? Fruits of righteousness. But if you're bringing forth children through fornication, you're bringing in the earth children that are subject to sin, to be used as tools against your own people. So we must be careful with these infatuations or these desires for the moment, because you're producing something that will internally destroy off your legacy, your purpose. That means setting a standard of marriage, okay, with a purpose that comes strictly from the father and mother together for your children's lives, for the rest of their lives. Here's the legacy we're setting forth, and we will not divert from this legacy. We will teach this legacy to our children, and this legacy was given to our forefathers. Period. And anyone who's against this legacy in this household is an enemy to God, thereby an enemy to us. And I will receive nothing from them. See? Making sense in a confusing world. Come on.
Chapter 2, verse 9. Wherefore it is the last in the order of creation, and the first in that of youth, because it is filled with ignorance, and leadeth the youth as a blind man to a pit, and as a beast to a precipice.
Come on.
Chapter 3, verse 1. Beside all these, there is an eighth spirit of sleep.
There's an eighth spirit of sleep, dropping it,
with which is brought out or brought about the trance of nature and the image of death. With these spirits are mingled the spirits of error.
Now there's a spirit of error that came in. Don't forget that tree of good and evil had good information, but it also has information of what? Error. Now that's within your senses or your being to make mistakes. See? Come on.
Chapter 3, verse 3. First, the spirit of fornication is seated in the nature and in the senses. The second, the spirit of insatiableness in the belly.
Now, insatiableness in the belly, that means what? Being insatiable, having to overindulge or have a desire you must fulfill. See? An itch that you must scratch. Insatiable. You should be content with what the Most High have given you, but what? It's not enough. I want more. Right? The desire beyond content. Insatiable. Read.
It says here, the spirit of fornication or Salakia in the belly of chapter 3, verse 4. The third, the spirit of fighting in the liver and gall.
Come on.
The fourth is the spirit of obsequiousness and chicanery, that through officiousness or through officious attention, one may be fair in seeming.
Hold up. Let me get some of these examples here. Let's. What verse are you at there?
That's chapter 3, verse 5.
Okay, one moment.
I'll read it again while you're getting that.
Go ahead.
It says, the fourth is the spirit of obsequiousness and chicanery, that through officious attention, one may be fair in seeming.
Okay, let's get some of those definitions here. One moment. Okay, obsequious. A person is more likely to be follower than a leader. A spirit of a person who's a follower more so than a leader. See? Someone that's easily impressed into doing something by someone else. That's a curse. The Most High made Adam and Eve what? Leaders. He gave Adam dominion. So when that dominion was taken from Adam and Eve, Job 9:24 tells us the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Now, we became inherently what? Followers instead of leaders. See that? Give me the other one here.
Chicanery.
Chicanery. Give the definition of chicanery now.
It says deception by trickery or sophistry.
And then what was sown is deception by trickery. Right? Brothers and sisters, on every level, I'll be examining this. In order for Adam to fall, Eve had to do what? Trick him. That is the fruit that was presented to deceive. Look what's going on amongst our people. Right? I've been looking at what, like I said, for the last couple of months, what interests me is what was going on in the so-called conscious community. People who are against the Bible. And I see why they are against the Bible. Because it's through their trickery and deceit. They have grandized themselves financially on the ignorant and most impressionable of our people. You have people lying, talking about, listen, we're going to build a school like this Umar Johnson guy from Philadelphia. We're going to build a school, got upward $1 million from my people. He was on our radio show years ago. Okay. And he just said he's going to have a school the other day, not telling people anything, just stealing money from the black people. And guess what? No one amongst their community is saying anything. I'm just showing you some examples. These hustlers, these 3-card Molly hustlers, these drug dealers, these so-called Masons and Eastern stars, these witches and warlocks and potion pushers, all amongst our people, and no one is saying anything. And all of them are saying, black power, we stand against the white man, when they are the greatest enemy within. But if we have the knowledge of this confusion, we'll make it where families, fathers and mothers no longer can do what? Bring forth people like Umar Johnson. We can teach our children right from wrong and say, you know what? Now we don't have to worry about people like him or in the conscious community coming up, because now they're coming through our loins. They're being taught from birth the knowledge of good and evil, the understanding of it, and resolving things through the law of God using the Bible. If we don't want these crooks amongst us, we have to make sure we bring forth righteous people. You understand? We're going to always have these crooks and drug dealers because they are a product of fornication. Who don't want change, who don't want to repent. We're going to always have these things amongst us unless we begin to produce and teach a nation righteousness ourselves. So our son and daughter look at these guys, these little hustlers in the conscious community, and be like, okay, let them stay over there. Okay. They have no effect over us. They don't got to tell me about black and what's being black is, because I understand what being black is every day. I'm living it. I'm black too. So what? That's all you got, being black? Okay. So the knowledge of understanding this, brothers and sisters, protect our children, protects our family from them. These shysters, these thieves. See? Come on.
And the last word here, officious.
Officious. You got officious?
It says marked by excessive eagerness.
Marked by excessive eagerness.
In offering unwanted services or advice to others.
Look at this. And offering unwanted services to others. Hustlers. Thank you. Hustlers. They're all amongst us trying to offer us unwanted services. That's the Most High showed our father Reuben the product of sin and fornication amongst us. It produces these spirits. These guys, yeah, I'm going to offer you a school. I'm going to offer you this and I'm going to offer you that. I'm going to offer you and show you what's going on with the black man. We built the pyramids. And the only thing they're trying to do is get their fornication on. They're trying to get their freak on. That's the end result, is them trying to satisfy their flesh, folks. It's in the scriptures we're reading. Now you see why they are against the Bible? Our father Reuben told us about this spirit. They'll do anything to satisfy their flesh. And it's above the money. The money is to get them to satisfy their flesh. And they will promise anything as long as you're sending it. See? I didn't mean to. I'm just showing you examples in our community who are serious. They are the product of sin. The conscious community and what we see in the conscious community is the product of sin. What we see in our Christian churches, the black Christian churches, they are a product of sin. And guess what? Either side is against the Bible. The conscious community is against the Bible, and the pastors and preachers in these churches are against the Bible. How do we know this? Because they claim that the law shouldn't be followed. The same law within the Bible they profess to uphold. See? Come on.
Chapter 3, the rest of verse 5. The fifth is the spirit of pride, that one may be boastful and arrogant.
So here's another spirit that comes in. The spirit of pride, that one would become boastful and arrogant. Reuben, our father, in the testament of Reuben, is identifying all the spirits that lead to hell. When one starts to believe they're more than who they are, having these grand delusions of themselves to make them believe they're better than everyone else. That's a demon. Read.
The fifth is the spirit of pride, that one may be boastful and arrogant.
Come on.
The sixth is the spirit of lying.
The sixth is the spirit of lying. I could use this. That's a shame. I mean, like Reuben was dealing with Umar. He was talking specifically about, let me give you one example that will be born, saying he got a black school for boys and after the year 2010. I'm just giving you some examples, folks. But this is what's suffering and destroying all of our people. What reason we have as a people to operate in arrogancy or pride when we don't have nothing compared to the other nations. And anything we do have, we use to destroy each other. It's used to destroy each other. We're not building anything righteous because we have gone off from the Most High's word. Finish reading.
It says here, in perdition and jealousy, to practice deceits and concealments from kindred and friends.
See, read that part again.
The sixth is the spirit of lying, in perdition and jealousy, to practice deceits and concealments from kindred and friends.
And to produce concealment and what?
From kindreds, or from kindred and friends.
From kindreds and friends. You lie to your own family. You lie about your own family, this spirit that came in. I'm talking about that seed of sin in the flesh that came through the partaking of good and evil. The fruit of our father, Adam, that our father Adam and Eve partook in. Our father and mother. Read.
The rest of verse 6. The seventh is the spirit of injustice, with which are thefts and acts of rapacity, that a man may fill the desire of his heart.
That a man shall fulfill the desire of his heart. These are the things that take down a man. This is what took down Adam, we're showing. So first, Reuben went into himself and the spirit that was in him, the authority he yielded to Satan as a man. He went into the man, then he went into the woman. Pride is the greatest sin of man. It causes man to fall. Pride. Read.
For injustice worketh together with the other spirits by the taking of gifts. And with all these.
Exactly. So what instill or keep that spirit of pride and all that in you, you have others giving you gifts and giving you things. And through that, you believe that your life is a service. Or vice versa. To get other people to see things the way you would like to see it, you'll give a gift so that others can co-sign your madness. The Most High is showing you, brothers and sisters, the spirit that leads to a fall. Like, you'll have someone who don't totally agree with someone, but if they give you something, you'll stand for them, even though you disagree with them. The spirit of bribery. These are all the things that have kept us down as a people. That makes it where the curse perpetuates itself. No longer do the white man have to enslave us. Our pride enslaves us. It keeps us under everyone. Because we only exercise this proud and arrogancy and all these other spirits that grandize us. We only exercise this against our own people. We don't exercise the pride to say, you know what? I'm too proud to live like this, so I'm getting all of our people out of this, and no longer will the white man rule. It's never used for that. It's always used to take advantage of your own. Finish reading.
It says here, verse 8.
Come on.
And with all these, the spirit of sleep is joined, which is that of error and fantasy. And so perisheth every young man, darkening his mind from the truth and not understanding the law of God.
That's another sin that comes in. And when it says the Most High have poured upon us a deep sleep, here's all the, what you would call products of that deep sleep. The last is what, Elder Lawyer?
It says, and with all these, the spirit of sleep is joined, which is that of error and fantasy.
We begin to fantasize and make an alternative reality instead of dealing with what is.
Mm-hmm.
Our hope becomes fantasy. Instead of fixing ourselves in our current state, we're waiting for a pie in the sky to fix everything that we should fix already.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Christ says, the kingdom cometh not by observation. The kingdom is within you. You get yourself together according to the word which was given, and I'll come. I'll come and I'll guide you. I'll be with you. But you have to do something as a people first. Like church. Church is selling fantasy. The only thing you have to do in the church is go there every Sunday and pay tithes. There's nothing else you have to do, right? It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. The kingdom cometh not by observation. It comes with works. We must bring the kingdom. What? We are the kingdom, folks. Okay. Think about it. The so-called white man that everyone's talking about, he didn't wait for nothing to come and bring him a kingdom, did he? He rallied and he set something up. Okay. It was prophesied, but he executed it. Well, guess what? Our deliverance is prophesied. Why aren't we executing? See? Fantasy. We're living in a fantasy. And this is the reason our people become a people of disappointment after disappointment. Well, I hope it's going to be better this time. Oh, I'm going to do this better this time. Because you were living in a fantasy. And when it doesn't happen, you're disappointed at yourself and everyone else. When that's not reality. The world we're living in and what we are witnessing is the real reality. And the fact that we're not following God's law is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And our children are a product of us not following that law. That's our reality. We need to wake up and stop fantasizing. Finish reading.
Chapter 3, verse 8. And so perisheth every young man, darkening his mind from the truth, and not understanding the law of God, nor obeying the admonitions of his fathers.
See that?
As befell me also in my youth.
So he says, I fell, but not following the law that was given, because that law that was given to Moses All of our fathers had. It was just written in stone. And not following the advice of my forefathers. That's why I fell. So Reuben actually recognized why he fell to what you would call the serpent's advances. Okay? He fell because what? He didn't listen to the law that was given. And it left him open. It left him vulnerable. Because why? Reuben wanted that moment. He wanted that moment. See? So he allowed his flesh to take over for that moment. I know a lot of you understand what we're saying here. What our forefather Reuben stated. Read.
And now, my children, it says, and now, my children, this is the rest of verse 9.
Yes.
Love the truth, and it will preserve you. Hear ye the words of Reuben, your father. Pay no heed to the face of a woman.
Pay no heed. He's telling man. Pay no heed to the face of a woman. Don't have your choices in life totally dictated on your infatuation of beauty. Don't let that steer your course. Why? Because the Most High can make a woman more beautiful. That's for you down the line. Don't let that be your sole existence. The face of a woman. Where you'll have some people who would choose hell for the love of a woman. Reuben said, don't let it happen. I don't care how fine she is, how bad she is, how cute she is, how she's shaped. Don't let that steer your direction. Focus on me. I made her. I made many of her. You follow my law. You deal with your purpose. Take back your dominion. And when I see fit, I will send you a helpmeet that's fit for a man of dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Because what? She's about to take you off path. Your desires are going to be what she wants. When I desire something, I desire you to stand as king and rule according to the dominion of your father, Adam. Learn of me. That's what the Most High is saying with the word. Don't be taken with the face of a woman. Every man would love a beautiful woman. That's natural. But understand who made her first. Okay. First. Let's put things in priority. She has a cute face. Okay. Or whatever. She's beautiful. You got a good shape. What's in her mind? Do she fear me? Do she love me? Or did she put all that time into herself? Or was all that time put into her? Because guess what, buddy? All your time is going to be put into her also. Mm-hmm. So Reuben broke it down. And here's an example of a man who fell to sin and fornication to the degree in which he repented for 7 years. And the Most High gave him knowledge of the spirits that led to his fall. Okay. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Quick precept on that point.
Yes.
Proverbs 31:30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Most High, Ahia, she shall be praised.
Exactly. A woman that fear the Lord shall be praised. Because what? Beauty is vain. Look how many beautiful people or on the outward and we speak with them that have no substance. Or they become so proud in their beauty that the Most High blessed them with that when they open their mouth, their attitudes makes them ugly. Okay? I don't care how nice you look. Your attitude is saying something different, and you know, good. You can keep all that. Okay? It's about the beauty within, the spirit. That's what really highlights a beautiful woman. Okay? A beautiful woman who's humble. Okay? Who's loving, who's nurturing, who has a fear of the Most High first and a love for the Most High. That's the magnification of beauty. That's when a woman should be praised for her beauty. When it's not just outward appearance. See? Come on.
This is Testament of Reuben, chapter 3, verse 10. Pay no heed to the face of a woman, nor associate with another man's wife.
Never associate with another man's wife. And that's the example Reuben can give us. Why? Because he went to the bed of his father's wife. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, she was showing advances too. And brothers got to be careful with, okay, when you talk to a girl and she's saying that, okay, I'm separated, that means she's married. Okay, that's the new thing now. I'm separated. No, you're married.
Mm-hmm. And it's sick because it's like the desire of every man's heart, of course, the man that's in the world, the desire of every man's heart has become a woman who has what we would consider a husband.
Yeah. It's like, because that makes you feel in your pride, that makes a man feel that, oh man, I must be on another level if I can get another man's wife. All these single women out here, and that's not that's not a challenge for you. Your challenge is to take someone from someone else. That's these spirits that are seeped in. I must be the man. Yeah. So he ain't like me, huh? Tell me about it.
Right,
man. I must be dope. I got it going on. Simple as the days old. Because what? Through all of this, outside of the passion that happens between these two quote unquote consenting adults, who's looking at the example of what mommy and daddy is and drawing an education for themselves going forward? The children. That evil becomes normal. Well, mommy and daddy did it and they turned out fine. And I don't know what our example of turning out fine is. Our example of turning out fine is the fact that we lived after sinning against God. You understand? They turned out fine. No, they didn't turn out fine. According to what word your parents turned out fine, or this is fine. And I hear this all the time. I ate pork for 30 years. Great grandmom ate pork for 60 years and she turned out fine. Hold up. She got her foot cut off and a leg cut off through diabetes and everything else. Why you ain't mentioning that? How people with this? I sinned and turned out fine. Let's keep going. I digress. Come on, let's go.
Nor meddle with the affairs of womankind.
Never meddle with the affairs of womankind, folks. Don't be getting into these conversations that go nowhere with these women. Women talking about what their mama did, what their cousin did, and trying to get you pulled up. Next thing you know, you pull up into a situation, there's guns drawn and everything. Because she calling you, talking about, yeah, this guy touched me and this, that, and come to find out she's messing with the guy and all that. And you sitting there getting pistol whipped. Simple as the days old. Because you get caught up in this woman now and I'm going to rescue her. And next thing you know, you getting a gun upside the head. You can't get caught up with these women affairs, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because why? Because they'll think about something and then they'll just go into an entirely different conversation. They're just doing busy talk.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it, folks. Don't get caught up in it. And because when you get caught up in it, the Jews make money through world star hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They'll get paid off of our dysfunction, getting caught up with what women is saying. Okay. And usually it's children that become a product of these separated families, going back to our father and mother being separated. Because you were growing up, you learned to cater to try to make sure mom is okay, and you were supposed to as a young man. But you think that's normal to have to deal with every little whim of your mother. That was the father's job to deal with that, not yours.
Right.
Now you grew up thinking that's normal to deal with everything a woman is saying.
Mm.
Finish reading.
Chapter 3, verse 11. For had I not seen Bilhah bathing in a covered place, I had not fallen into this great iniquity.
Now check out. He seen Bilhah bathing. One day he came upstairs or came near where the waters were running and seen Jacob's wife, his father's wife, bathing. He says, if I wouldn't have seen that, then a desire wouldn't have came in me to deal with her, but I seen her naked. Now let's transfer that to so-called 2019. You sitting there on your phone going through all these women who are actually doing what? Showcasing themselves for you. And guess what? I don't understand what's wrong with these brothers that are allowing their women to show their face and bodies online. I could never understand that. Don't you know that she's showcasing for someone else? Do you realize that? Do you realize that? Because don't forget, right now your relationship could be fine, but relationships have ups and downs and arguments. And you're going to have some guy that she's attracted to that's going to find a moment based on something she put on Facebook or Snapchat that's going to let everyone know she's not under your good graces right now, or you're not under hers. Now, he fell to a woman because he's seen her showering. But if you were to go on some of these things, and not only that, I'm like, what's wrong with our sisters? You got our sister showing all these pictures, and then she have a picture with her son or daughter after that. So the lust, there's one spirited show that comes with what you see that leads you to sin. See? Same thing today. You got not just brothers. We're going to go into the sisters in a second, but Reuben was talking about himself first. Mm-hmm. The spirits that led to his fall. Mm. He was talking about himself first. Like, you know what? I know I should have seen her bathing that day. I couldn't get that out of my mind. Mm. Now imagine you sitting there scrolling, and a woman is showing you she's available. I don't care what her status is. And men know it. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you the truth. Every man knows that if a woman is showing herself online, she can be gotten by another man, regardless of her status. Men know that. Okay? And no real man is going to allow his woman to be showing her body and all that, and her face and all that on social media. No real man. Okay? Because the only thing she's doing is putting herself forth for a few just in case, just in cases, just in case. She's going to have 2 or 3 just in case. That's the way it is. I'm putting it out there. That's what happened to Reuben. Come on.
Verse 12, chapter 3, verse 12. For my mind taken in the thought of women's nakedness suffered me not to sleep until I had wrought the abominable thing.
Look at that. He couldn't sleep thinking about this woman. He couldn't sleep. Man, that pales in comparison to how the women are presenting themselves now. Okay. They're presenting themselves sexually before the world, uncovered. Reuben couldn't sleep until he dealt with this woman. That's why Satan set this system up so at the very end to say, you know what? I'm going to have it at the very end when it's time for the awakening, God's people to awaken. We're going to open it up where it's just for them to indulge and stay distracted through sin and fornication. Come on.
Chapter 13. For while Jacob, our father, had gone to Isaac, his father, when we were in Adar, near to Ephrat in Bethlehem, Bilhah came drunk and was asleep uncovered in her chamber.
Go on.
Having therefore gone in and beheld her nakedness, I wrought the impiety without her perceiving it.
Look at that. He waited till she was asleep and got in bed with her. Go on.
And leaving her sleeping, I departed. And forthwith an angel of God revealed to my father concerning my impiety.
Look at that.
And he came and mourned over me and touched her no more.
He couldn't even touch her anymore and mourned over his son. The angel of the Lord came to Jacob and told him, your son had violated your bed. Man. One moment. Let me plug this in. Okay. Where you left off at?
It's chapter 4 or not. Yeah, chapter 4, verse 1.
Yeah. It says here, I'm in the Testament of Reuben, 4+1. Pay no heed, therefore, my children, for the beauty of a woman, nor set your mind on their affairs, but walk in singleness of heart in the fear of the Most High, and expend labor on good works and on study and on your flocks. That means put more emphasis on studying the Most High and the business he gave you to do his will. That's where your focus comes in. A woman comes in to help you with that. See? You have so many men sitting there browsing and sitting there looking at different women. Guess what? And women doing it. None of them have enough time to actually build a legacy that was prophesied for their families. I need y'all to examine that. It says here, and expend labor on good works and on study on your flocks, until the Lord give you a wife, man, whom he will, that ye suffer not as I did. Wait for the Most High to send you someone, and brothers, and stop trying to say, I'm looking for that perfect one. And you tell the same line to every girl you find online. You might be the one. Same sorry tired lines. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there's some virtue in that pic right there. I can tell you might be the one. Same line for he's copying and pasting probably the same line every girl he see in any respective area, knowing that his only desire is to sleep with her. Listen to this here. The second verse. For until my father's death, I had not boldness to look in his face. He couldn't even look in his father's face. I'm right here, the Lord. You got it? Yes, or to speak. Come on.
I had not boldness to look in his face or to speak to any of my brethren.
Come on.
Because of the reproach, even until now, my conscience causeth me anguish on account of my impiety.
Come on.
And yet my father comforted me much and prayed for me unto the Lord, that the anger of the Lord might pass from me, even as the Lord showed. And thenceforth until now, I have been on guard and sinned not. Therefore, my children, I say unto you, observe all things whatsoever I command you, and ye shall not sin.
Come on.
For a pit unto the soul is the sin of fornication.
What verse are you at?
Chapter 4, verse 6.
Come on.
For a pit unto the soul is the sin of fornication, separating it from God and bringing it near to idols, because it deceiveth the mind and understanding, and leadeth young men into Hades before their time.
And it leads them into hell before their time. You know what that's talking about? Young men dying at an early age, folks. Young men dying at an early age. Our nation is a product of fornication in these in our communities. I'm speaking of going to jail and all that. The majority of this is because of fornication and us not choosing family and having the family separated. Let's read on.
Chapter 4, verse 7. For many have fornication destroyed, because though a man be old or noble, or rich or poor, he bringeth reproach upon himself with the sons of men, and derision with Beliar.
Satan, read.
For ye heard regarding Joseph how he guarded himself from a woman, and purged his thoughts from all fornication, and found favor in the sight of the Most High and men.
Because the queen of Egypt tried to lay with Joseph. Now, Egyptians were known for this. And she was a beautiful woman with full power, but yet Joseph denied her advances. Come on.
Chapter 4, verse 9. For the Egyptian woman did many things unto him, and summoned magic, and offered him love potions.
She even was dealing with aphrodisiacs and love potions, going to the priest to have a man fall in love with her. And brothers and sisters, you'll be surprised how many women are dealing with witchcraft and all that to put a spell on man, have a man fall in love with her. That's the world we're living in. Okay, come on.
But the purpose of his soul admitted no evil desire. Therefore, the Most High of your fathers, the God of your fathers, delivered him from every evil and hidden death. For if fornication overcomes not your mind, neither can Beliar overcome you.
Now, if fornication don't overtake your mind, which is if you can get your mind off of sex, Satan can't overcome you. If you can get your mind off of the physical act, Satan have no power over you. Now check that out. Let's go to the 5th chapter in the 1st verse. Read.
Chapter 5, verse 1. For evil are women.
When he says for evil are women, he's not speaking of the virtuous woman. But what he's speaking of is the majority of women who are born and taught in sin, who haven't discerned right from wrong, which is it's a vast percentage. A large number of them are evil. For evil are women, read.
My children, and since they have no power or strength over man.
Since they can't physically force a man to do something.
They use wiles by outward attraction.
They use their outward attraction to subdue him. Normally, she would just look at a man and force a man to do what she would like him to do. But she don't have the physical strength. So therefore, she used the outward beauty to trap men. Listen to this. Come on.
It says that they may draw him to themselves. Chapter 5.
So that they can draw them to themselves, to get attention. To get the attention. Now, she understands that her throwing herself out there will get the attention of thousands of men. But she's only focused on the ones or the one she wants. You understand? She knows that the way she looks, she can have anybody. But she will use it to trap the one she's attracted to. Right? Come on.
Chapter 5, the end of verse 2.
Come on.
In whom they cannot bewitch by outward attraction, him they overcome by craft.
So now, if they can't get a man through outward attraction, they'll do by craft. It's going to also go into, brothers and sisters, how a woman will make herself into another woman. She will change her face into another person. Brothers and sisters, that's witchcraft. I don't care what they call it. They can call it makeup. They can call it this, that, and the other. But if you're not presenting yourself as the Most High made you, it's deceit. Because it has a purpose. The purpose is, I can't get him this way, so let me get him this way. I'm going to become what he desires, even if I have to paint her on. If I feel he desired that, I'll go get that. Even though it's not my hair or it's not my face, you know what? It doesn't matter. I'll get him. It's about trapping him into the moment in which I can bring forth a seed. I will bring forth a child through this, and he'll have to deal with me now. Guess what? Reuben spoke about this. Read on.
It says here, for moreover, concerning them, the angel of the Lord told me and taught me that women are overcome by the spirit of fornication more than men.
And it says the Spirit also taught Reuben that women are what?
Overcome by the spirit of fornication more than men.
Women are overcome with the spirit of fornication more than men. Yeah, I know they teach you in reverse, but it's true. Women think of acts more than men. Okay? That's the truth about it. But they're able to conceal it better than men. I'm just telling you the truth because why? Reuben gave us this information so that we could come out of this flesh-serving state we're in. And we have to tell the truth concerning it. We have to deal with the reality of it. She may not show it all the time. She's able to conceal her desires and fantasies more so than a man, but she thinks about it much more than men. Okay? Read.
And in their heart they plot against men.
And in their heart they plot against men.
And by means of their adornment, they deceive first their minds.
Hold up. And by their adornment, their outward appearance, they deceive first their minds.
And by the glance of the eye.
And then she'll look back with the glance of her eyes.
Instill the poison.
And she will instill the poison in him. Follow me. She'll look and walk. And she'll walk knowing exactly who she's trying to get. And wait for him to say, well, hold up. Can I speak to you? Now, what the man can't see behind her is that smile. Got him. Oh, it didn't try to act as if it wasn't intentional. Oh, yeah. Oh, hold up. I got some place to go. Yeah, right. She instilled it. She walked with the full purpose of a particular person saying something. And she got it. See? Now, I don't know if we can even teach something like this. The Christian church definitely can't teach this, because tithes in the Christian church on Sundays will go down, down, down. Okay. Telling the truth. Now, I like the fact that Reuben told the truth on himself first. The arrogancy of man who think that he can get over everybody with his mouth and just speak and make everything his way. Having some idea of grandeur concerning himself. So Reuben spoke of himself first. So no one can say this is a man against a woman thing. Okay. He spoke of what the Most High showed him concerning man and what led to the fall of man, which is Adam. And the Most High showed him the spirit and the authority the Most High that a woman can use with her physical appearance. Okay. Come on.
Chapter 4, the end of verse 3. And through the accomplished act, they take them captive.
And through the what?
Through the accomplished act.
Through the accomplished act. So the whole thing is for a specific purpose. When a woman, be it single or married, whatever the case is, okay, get dressed up, put all that stuff on them, put the right things on them, especially if they have nice curves or whatever the case is. They know exactly what the end result is. And I'm going to tell you this, brothers and sisters. Years before the Most High called me to the ministry to do the work, I was working in a corporate office. And I don't care what people think. I've worked in corporate office with married women, women that were single, whatever the case is. And guess what? I didn't see a difference in their action towards people at the job, single men or men who are married. I didn't know the difference based on the actions of what they do when they get themselves all ready and go into the corporate world. Okay. So I'm not speaking from total ignorance here. I've seen women get dressed up and all that. And I was managing at places and seeing what married women do and all that, being in these places. Okay. Men have to be careful. You have to first fear the Most High yourself and get yourself in subjection with him. And then sit down with your wife and say, well, listen, we're going to serve the Lord together. Yeah, if you got to work and all that, that's fine. But listen, we're going to have to have some rules on what you're looking like, because I know what's going on out there. It's not that I'm insecure. It's none of that. Listen, we have to show an example for our legacy, for our family. We are the kingdom of heaven. And it cometh not by observation. We must show the example of a righteous family. And then you'll know whether or not she's really on your side at that point. Are you trying to control me? Well, no, I'm not trying to control you. I want better for you. You're better than just your behind or how you're looking. I want better for you. I'm not trying to control you. We have to get real. I'm like, listen, if I'm feeling a certain type of way looking at you right here, and I've seen you like this all the time, it should be normal to me, but I'm feeling a certain type of way the way you're looking right now. What are these other men in my absence thinking about my wife? You have to have these conversations and with common sense with her. And say, listen, you already got me. I mean, who else do you want? Because it look like you look like you're showcasing here. So those discussions must happen, brothers and sisters, because I understand a woman want to be told continually how beautiful she is and she look nice. That's all good. Well, I'm not hearing it enough from him, so I'm going to put this on and get that on. No, that's wrong according to the Bible. That's wrong. You have a husband, content. If you got to go into the workforce and work, do what you got to grab the spoils and come home, give it to your husband and build a legacy. Without what? Without selling yourself. See? Man, I'm digressing. It's 4 o'clock right now. Let's finish reading this, and then we'll pick it up this Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Chapter 5, the rest of verse number 4.
Yeah.
For a woman cannot force a man openly, but by a harlot's bearing, she beguiles him.
It says a woman cannot entice a man or take a man down, openly, because she don't have the physical power to do so. So she used her body to have her will done, to have him acquiesce. Come on.
Chapter 5, verse 5. Flee therefore fornication, my children, and command your wives and your daughters.
Command your wives and your daughters.
That they adorn not their heads and faces to deceive the mind.
That they do not adorn their heads and their faces to deceive men's minds. See that? Are you seeing this? Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, right out. The Gentiles knew exactly what they was doing, setting up those hair shops and all that in our neighborhoods. They knew exactly, because it made women believe that they weren't beautiful already. And you were, and you are. Okay. They built the insecurity so that you can now dress yourself up and act a certain type of way, understanding that that leads to more fornication. In a community that's looking for resolve, at a time of prophecy, they began to focus on sisters and making them up and having them dress and adorn. And as they did so, the government separated the man, gave the woman everything, and then fornication arose from it. And now we have what? Sodom and Gomorrah as a product within our communities. It was a systematic, satanic target on God's people, the children of Israel. And no one is talking about it. Because they're adorning the hair and putting things on isn't because, well, the white people are doing it and black people are choosing this and they choosing women over us. It have nothing to do with that, folks. It has everything to do with the selfishness of what that individual wants. And I feel if I have to deceive to get it, I'll deceive. And it's leading to it led to a destruction, the total destruction and annihilation of God's people. Selfishness on the man part and the woman part. It's just that I love the fact that Reuben could articulate and break it down on the lowest level, on the minute level spiritually, so that we can understand right from wrong concerning what's in our communities and our thoughts. Okay? How now it's not about man and woman being for each other. It's about man and women deceiving each other. Because why? They're not discussing their legacy as the children of Israel from the beginning. They're talking flesh and putting up a facade for either side. Okay? A deceitful union coming together because no one was honest with each other. And then down the line, you hate each other for it and break up and work on the next person. And the Most High is like, you know what? I'm finished with it. The Most High in this Bible is saying, I'm about to bring Israel to a head. I'm drawing a line in the sand. The Lord is with this book and saying, choose which side you're going to be on. Because we're not representing the Most High correctly as a people. He's saying man and woman. We've deceived each other. And for those who just came in, making sense of a confusing world. The attack against the man and woman, how it went from us working together, the Most High making a man, and through making a man, took a woman out from a man to be a helpmeet to do his will. That's why man and woman would come together to do the Most High's will. And now man and women, both on either side, get together through straight deceiving each other first. And the children are learning this evil as an example of family. Finish reading what verse you left off at. We only have a few more.
Yes, sir. This is chapter 5, verse number 5.
Come on.
Flee therefore fornication, my children, and command your wives and your daughters that they adorn not their heads and faces to deceive the mind.
To deceive the mind. Be happy, sisters, with how the Most High made you. Okay? By doing so and adorning yourself and changing yourself into someone else, what are you saying? That the Most High made a mistake with you? He didn't. You're beautiful and perfect the way you are. And don't try to deal with the standards Satan has set for this world. Come on.
Because every woman who useth the wiles,
every woman that use these wiles,
have been reserved for eternal punishment.
Have been reserved for eternal punishment. See? And we know what happens to the men who follow that. Man fell in the beginning by what? Partaking of that fruit that was given to the woman. Then the woman introduced it to the man, and it led to death for assault. You understand? And that's, keep in mind, that's why at the very end of this, Satan and the powers under him gave full authority to women. Okay? At the last, they would have full authority to keep the righteous man at bay. To keep the prince of the power, Jacob, at helm. Come on.
Chapter 5, Testament of Reuben, chapter 5, verse 6. For thus they allured the watchers who were before the flood, for as these continually beheld them, they lusted after them.
Exactly. I wanted to put it out there because it tells us, Christ says in Matthew 24:37, as in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. What we see in today with women with skimpy clothes on, hair cladded all down their back, showing their shapes, that's the same spirit that allured the angels to the earth to sin before the flood. That's what we're seeing on Snapchat, YouTube, people shaking and all these things, running around with no clothes on, acting out with their bodies, is a clear sign of a judgment soon to come. This is what we witness in a world of confusion before the Most High sends a judgment, folks. Before the fire comes. And when it stops, it will stop all at once. It will stop all at once. But this is the clear sign that the children of Israel, God's chosen people, now have to make decisions and say, you know what? I know a judgment is coming. The Most High have shown me a sign. What can I do in the midst of this to be someplace else when it comes? It's coming. And this world has gone too far. The world isn't going to change, brothers and sisters. It's going to wax worse than this. I said it years ago, and I thought I was being facetious on the street. I'm like, sisters, look what you're wearing. Brothers, look at what we're chasing after right now. Eventually, if we don't get a rein on this stuff, we're going to have women running around, walking up the street, butt naked. And I was being facetious when I said that in 1994, 1995 on the street. And back then it was just long dresses that were showing shapes and all that. I'm like, if we're not careful, we're going to be living in a time in which women are going to be walking around butt naked. And I was saying it facetiously. I was saying it in a joking fashion. Little did I know that I would be living in a time in which it's so. It's a sign. And this is how we can make sense of the confusion. You know how we can make sense of it? We have to get out of it. We have to get man and woman together, family together, like it was intended under God's law, following this Bible, and vacate like the days of Lot. That's the next stage in this. And we don't have long. And you're going to hear us prophesying this on the street, dropping it and all that. And telling our brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth, repent from our evil and unforward ways, our forward and evil ways. For the kingdom of heaven will soon be at hand. And judgment will fall upon all of humanity. And the judgment is going to start at the temples of God. The majority of these churches are going to fall, and they will be tombs for the dead. Let's end it out.
Yes, sir. Chapter 5 of the rest of verse 6. For as these continually beheld them, they lusted after them, and they conceived the act in their mind.
Come on.
For they changed themselves into the shape of men and appeared to them when they were with their husbands.
Go on.
And the women lusting in their minds after their form.
So it tells you the angels came down and changed themselves to a glorified form of these sisters' husbands. Read.
It says, and when the women lusting in their minds after their form.
And the women lusted, having husbands, after these fallen ones.
Gave birth to giants.
Gave birth to Nephilim, like it says in Genesis 6. There were Nephilim or giants in those days. Read.
For the watchers appear to them as reaching unto heaven.
And that's why the Most High tell us in Corinthians 11 that the woman should cover because of the angel. What angel? The angels that lusted after women and came down because they were showing their behinds and all that. Speaking of the daughters of Cain before the flood. Come on.
It's going into chapter 6.
I wanted to break that down. And I hope today to some degree that we've made some sense in this world of confusion. Come back to the Most High God, brothers and sisters. Okay? We are the children of Israel. We're servants of the Most High. We are the gathering of Christ Church. Come back. All right. Now, last but not least, I know I went well over. I apologize for this long class, but it was needed. And I'm going to continue in the vein of this conversation this coming Wednesday. We're going to have some thought-provoking broadcasts along with guests. I'm going to get with a brother who's in Mississippi that's going to help me with getting some more guests on. And hey, we're going to go out, swinging with the word. Okay. This is going to be a serious year in prophecy. And you will see the churches set up throughout the four corners of the earth, including Babylon, before we're out of here. Okay. With that, I'm going to say thank you for those who've donated to the church. We still have a few things to do as far as painting and things of that nature. If you would like to help donate for the finishing touches of the church, you can send your check or money order to Gathering of Christ Church, P.O. Box 946. Okay, that's Hamilton Street, P.O. Box 946, Philadelphia, PA 19130. If you would like to send a check or money order to help with our headquarters, or if you would just like to give an offering or tithes towards the work. Okay. And guess what? We're not sitting on our laurels. We're building with what's provided to us. Okay. Another thing here is, again, we're only week 3 in the academy starting tomorrow. Okay. So we still have 10 strong weeks. And if you would like to become a participant, well, make sure you get the 2 weeks missed, which were the creation of the universe and also tracing the serpent seed. You'll get those links to catch up, and you'll be able to real time stream our live broadcast for the academy starting tomorrow. What's the lesson tomorrow? The lesson tomorrow is
the seed of promise.
The seed of promise, breaking down Abraham's seed and how they're lining these churches claiming that all people are Abraham's seed if they believe in Christ. That's a lie, the way they're teaching it. You can't be a physical seed of Abraham because you believe in Christ. Okay? That's speaking of the promises to the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what that's talking about. And we're going to show you that according to Christ, that promise would come to a physical people, the same people written in the Old Testament. Okay? We're going to go there. And we're going to also show where the Gentiles fit. Because if the promise is coming to all people equally, how is it a promise? If everyone gets it, doesn't make sense. So I'm going to break down Abraham, his promises, who it was for, and where the Gentiles fit in all this. We'll be going into that broadcast, that lesson on the promises of Abraham, Abraham's seed, tomorrow. Also, again, if you would like to become a part of the academy, send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com. We have someone right now on standby waiting for enrollments in case you would like to. We have someone that's in the, that's overseas, that's working right now and processing enrollments right now for tomorrow. So gatheringas1@aol.com if you would like to get in. Next, if you would like to also enroll real time, PayPal or using your credit card, you can send an email. I mean, not email. You can go to historytimes.org, historytimes.org, or go to gatheringofchrist.org and enroll. And in return, we'll send you a welcome package for tomorrow with tomorrow's link and lesson within the email. Okay. Also, we have I Am Apparel. That's the Gathering of Christ Church apparel line now, in which we offer t-shirts, different things of that nature, modest apparel for brothers and sisters. And you can go to iamapparel.org if you would like to purchase, shirts and things of that nature. And we also have the fringes now with a lot of our garments, especially the brothers' garments. You can get t-shirts with fringes, whatever the case is. Please go there. Go to gatheringofchrist.org. You can hit on I Am Apparel or iamapparel.org. And that will also help support the church and have it where the church can now clothe our brothers and sisters in the right apparel and have the children of Israel put on their beautiful garments. Okay. With that, I'm going to say shalom. You have some more announcements?
Just one more announcement before I forget.
Okay.
For those who are in the Minnesota area, if you want details and updates as to how things are going to be set up there in Minnesota, you can send an email to goccnyc@gmail.com to receive details on a meeting that will take place this coming Monday with Elder Gabar. Okay, so again, send an email if you're in Minnesota to goccnyc@gmail.com for details for this upcoming meeting this Monday.
Great. And with that, we're going to say shalom. And brothers and sisters, stay prayed up, sin not. And please stay under the Most High's grace. Don't let no one dissuade you from the truth. This is the truth. And like Christ said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, we don't have any time today for Q&As, but we'll pick up Q&As next week with our next Sabbath. But you can go into the law class straight from this class if you would like. Elder Gabar will be streaming or is streaming live on a different channel. So you can go in if you want to continue your growth in the law with the Gathering of Christ Church after this. The Lord's Prayer.
Ahaya,
Bahashem,
Yeshaya, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Okay, bless you, brothers and sisters, and we hope you can be here for our Wednesday broadcast. We're going to start around 6:30 this Wednesday, live on Blog Talk. We'll also be on this channel at 6:30 this Wednesday. We'll be broadcasting live from this channel. So if you're looking at it now, you can come directly to this GOCC NYC to see our broadcast that we'll have live this coming Wednesday. Shalom, and may the Most High be with you and protect your families. The number one thing we must bring together is the man and woman. Okay? The family. Shalom.
Shalom.